The views and opinions expressed in this video are solely those of the Fat Bearded Vinyl Guy and should not be taken seriously by sane people.
Greetings and salutations, Vinyl Nation, music lovers, and etc. It's Matt, the Fat Bearded Vinyl Guy, back in the vinyl lair with another Too Late record review. The album in question today has been out for a few decades. It's Van Halen's 1991 album, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. This was one of those albums that came out in 1991 that I ate for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a midnight snack. Right there along with Nirvana's Nevermind, Metallica's Black Album, Pearl Jam's 10, Red Hot Chili Peppers' Blood Sugar Sex Magic, Guns N' Roses' Use Your Illusion 1 and 2, Queen's Innuendo, Ozzy's No More Tears, and Skid Row's Slave to the Grind. And that's not counting the albums that came out the year before that did the exact same thing to me, such as AC/DC's The Razor's Edge, Warrant's Cherry Pie, and Queensryche's Empire. What a time to be alive, man, and I was all into that in my 15-year-old pubescent glory. Now, I had known some of the Van Halen hits from the David Lee Roth era, the songs I heard on WAPL, 105.7, The Rockin' Apple, and I was also familiar with the 5150 album, but this one, I jumped in head first. Now, for some reason, I feel the need to preface a Van Halen review with this. I've heard of a debate between Van Halen fans, both the diehards and the casual fans, debating between the singers of Van Halen. Some prefer Sam, while others prefer Diamond Dave. Where do I stand? Well, to me, it's not about Sammy or Dave. It's about Ed. I didn't care who's the front man of Van Halen. All I care about is Eddie and Alex. Sorry, Michael Anthony. As long as those two are there, that's Van Halen to me. Hell, even Gary Cherone had his moments. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to catch hell with that take. Ed and Alex is what made Van Halen Van Halen, and not just because of the name. Sorry, Wolf. That said, it's time to dust off my Korean pressing of For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge and get to know this album. But not carnally. That would hurt. Not to brag. The album starts with ambient sound of Ed plugging his guitar and then revving a Makita power drill over the pickups of his new Ernie Ball guitar. The drill, incidentally, was left in the studio by a technician fixing his amplifier. Most of us regular folk would just go, hey, that's a drill. If I need to drill something, I can use that. Eddie Van Halen, in his genius, however, thought, I wonder what it would sound like if I played my guitar with that. It makes me wonder how many of those signature Ernie Ball guitars he screwed up putzing with that thing. In true EVH fashion, he used it for musical gold. Now, after a few seconds, Alex's thundering drums come in for a few bars, and then we're off to the races. Michael Anthony's bass helps drive this beast, and Sam starts off with his Sammy Hagar, oh yeah! The beginning of Ed's solo is very syncopated and disjointed, but by the third go-round, he's more straightforward, also using the drill a couple more times. It's a thundering and brilliant opener, despite the fact that it fades out. It's funny how you can listen to an album or a song for a few decades and not completely realize what the song is all about until it smacks you in the face one day in your late 40s. It recently just hit me that when Sammy Hagar says, I love my baby's pound cake, he's not exactly talking about baked goods. Yeah, I usually pay more attention to music than the lyrics. I usually bring up lyrics only if I've run out of literally anything else to talk about. In true 80s and 90s style, it's a song about sex, and Sam has come up with another fascinating euphemism for a female body part. My inner 15-year-old is amused, but 48-year-old me with two daughters is slightly creeped out. As usual, the truth is somewhere in the middle. We're cooking up an old-time, long-lost recipe. Judgment Day starts off with more of Ed's six-string gymnastics, some slightly arpeggiated stuff, dive bombs, and screaming harmonics, and that's just in the first 35 seconds. Then we get to a chugging rhythm with Michael and Alex locked in like a metronome. No Pro Tools here. This is easily the heaviest song about just kicking back and relaxing, something Sammy Hagar has made a career out of. Kicking back ain't kicking you, making plans a waste, ain't no future here. You could tone this down, add a little slide guitar, and it would feel right at home as a Jimmy Buffett song. Here, we're chugging and rocking all the way to Judgment Day, if we weren't putting it off until Judgment Day. Towards the end, just past 4 minutes, Sam lets out this scream where I don't know if Michael Anthony is harmonizing or if Sam's just about to blow his voice out. It must be harmonized because live it sounds about the same. It's a cool sound though. I just slide on by, never bad enough to crucify me. You see, kids, back before we had the internet in every home and AI chatbots and streaming videos of, shall we say, adult educational videography, there was a thing called the 1-900 number. Not 1-800 or one of the other toll-free numbers. I think we're at like 844 or something. This was one where you would pay for a woman to talk dirty to you. That's what this track is all about. $3 for the first minute. After that, cost you $4. Ed's riff gives it a feel that's dirtier than the bathroom at a strip club. Not that I've ever been in the bathroom or a strip club. Or a strip club at all. What, is my nose getting long? I thought I saw something. Spanked has this slow, dirgy, grimy feel that makes me feel like I need a shower afterwards. Alex is leaving more space in the drums and being slightly syncopated in his snare hits in spots. It's not always on the beat. There's an occasional offbeat snare hit. During Ed's solo, the groove shifts to a double time feel, but it's still a slow grind. The breakdown section after the solo gives me a feeling of the freakout section of Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love. Ed's making Ed sounds on the guitar. There's the harmonized Bad Bad Boys line, and Sam being Robert Plant without being Robert Plant until he yells out, "Call 1-900 spanked." One thing I never got was that it's called the spank line, but spanking is a physical action, while calling on the phone is an auditory. Oh, okay. Runaround starts with Eddie's arpeggiated guitar and something that, for some reason, what I love is when he hits that top string, he gives it a little bend, that bow, 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 bow. Every time I hear it, every song, I just love that for some strange reason. Something else I like for some unknown reason is Alex's utilization of the ride cymbal. And I love me a good ride cymbal. I can't explain it. Maybe a music psychologist can help me out with that. Speaking of, Sam's got a case of the blue balls, and his girl is not helping. Maybe he's just being a gentleman. I won't, but I want it. Oh, what a fool believes. Got her in my sight, but just out of reach. In the breakdown section, Sam channels Diamond Dave by doing some spoken word stuff. It's hard enough, and she's making it harder. She owns it. It's one of the more fun songs about sexual frustration out there. Here we go around. She's giving me the runaround. Pleasure Dome starts off with 40 seconds of just Ed being Ed. Ah, I love this. I could listen to an entire album of Eddie Van Halen just noodling. Then it's Alex's turn. He turns in a tribal drum pattern that's more drum solo than actual groove. A proper groove kicks in at 1:10, chugging rhythm, and Sam does this double track talk singing that I'm not exactly a fan of. Possibly more David Lee Roth influence. I don't think I'm ever going to not think that Sam was trying to be Dave in spots. Is it fair? Probably not. But hey, that's the curse of being the second guy. You're always compared to the first guy. Just like every James Bond actor is compared to Sean Connery. Just comes with the territory, man. Anyway, back to the music. Michael Anthony has some cool bass runs in spots, but other than that in the intro, there's not much I really enjoy about this song. The chorus and the pre-chorus are the only things that are actually sung and are singable. Ed's doing Ed things in the solo, and that's always aces. But other than that, sorry, this dome doesn't give me much pleasure. I won't skip it, but it's not my favorite. Alex kicks off side 2 with a drum fill on In and Out. We are into the groove and an Ed solo right away. Remember when I talked about Pound Cake and how Sam had some nice euphemisms? Well, this song is just the opposite. With a name like In and Out, you're either talking about the burger joint or night swimming. Instead, it's about our own crippling debt. been in debt from conception, and pay for the rest of your life. They got you coming in, and they got you going out. Ed and Sam have a back and forth in the breakdown section before Ed's acrobatic solo. This is such a groovy track that you almost forget that you yourself have a few bills that are past due. Never met a man doesn't owe somebody something. No way to get free and clear, only deeper year after year. Man on a Mission starts off with a swing and boogie groove that would not sound bad if it were arranged for a big band. Sam's singing about sex again, par for the chorus in 1991. Sam's got one thing on his mind. Hell, even the title isn't veiled in euphemism. I got a one-track mind, blinders up, less talk, more action with no distraction. Yeah, he's trying to get his girl in the sack. For me, this is one that could have been left on the cutting room floor, but it grooves and I don't skip it. Definitely a lesser track for this album, and fading out on Eddie Van Halen soloing should be against federal law. Come on, man, wake up. The Dream Is Over is another song in this middle section of the album that kind of brings the album down for me. From Pleasure Dome through this song, where a lot of it does sound similar. I mean, Ed's still being Ed, and that's why I don't skip it, but come on, man. Put some ideas of these 4 songs into 2 more concise songs. That would not make this middle section of the album as much of a slog. I blame the desire to fill out an entire CD. Remember, kids, just because you can doesn't mean you should. The boys are still killing it, and I hate to say anything from Van Halen as filler, but this track just doesn't do it for me. Next. Right Now is the big single from this album, and it was all over MTV back then. Not so much right now, unless it's on an episode of Teen Mom or some other shitty programming. Anyway, Ed starts off on a real piano, and that sounds a lot better than a synth would, in my unsolicited opinion. The piano isn't gratuitous, it fits the song. The intro builds until the groove gets going 1 minute in. Sam has gone on record saying these were some of his best lyrics, and I tend to agree, mostly because it's not about the horizontal mambo. It's a song that means something, which was missing in a lot of the songs overall in this era. You know, the tail end of the hair metal era. Not that I consider Van Halen hair metal, it was just the time. One by one, little problems build up and stand in our way. One step ahead, one step behind. Gotta run to get even. That's slightly less pithy than Seize the Day or Carpe Diem. Catch that magic moment and do it right here and now. The penultimate track, 316, is an Ed instrumental. It's named after his son Wolfgang's birthday, March 16th, 1991. The idea wasn't new at the time, since it was part of Ed's guitar solo on the Live Without a Net video in 1986. One really cool moment happened in 2004 when 13-year-old Wolfie played a duet of this track with his dad live. Just seeing Ed beaming with pride when Wolf was playing, it's something that if you don't feel good about that, check your pulse. The final track, Top of the World, is a fun, feel-good track. Gets you moving and dancing around a little bit. It's a positive message to end out the record. Nothing's gonna stop me, nothing will be scaring me. It's everything that the band did well on this album. Ed can do no wrong, Alex and Michael are locked in, and Sam is out front having fun and living his best life. I wish I could have his attitude on life. Standing on top of the world for a little while. That was true for Van Halen for the next few years. For me, this is the closest that the Van Hagar era ever got to the original David Lee Roth feel of Van Halen, and I attribute that to the fact that Ted Templeman returned to co-produce this album, his first since the 1984 record. There's some party sounds on this album. The boys clearly had a good time making this, and that feel comes through in the music. But, as they say, all good things must come to an end. This was the last great, fun Van Halen record. It had elements of what made Van Halen fun to listen to. It's my favorite of the Van Hagar era records, and on the right day, it might be my favorite Van Halen record overall. I miss Ed. We all do. But with albums like this one, Eddie Van Halen will live forever. And I think all of us, the Sam fans, the Dave fans, and those like me that don't have a preference, I think we can all get behind that. That's it for now. FatBeardedVinylGuy.com is the website with the links, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, as well as all the Fbvg goodness you need and some that you don't. So until next time, whatever you call God bless, and I will catch you on the B-side.